Hello friends, it's Grace and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be going through my February TBR with you. This is probably a really ambitious TBR given that February is the shortest month of the year, but I have actually a lot going on in terms of like how I'm organizing this in my head because I almost have like 3 separate categories for this TBR. I have the books that I'm like definitely planning to read, which I guess, like, in all honesty, should be my TBR. Then I have some carryovers from January because I kind of messed up my January TBR by deciding to read Assassin's Quest, which is like an 800 plus page beast. So that kind of pushed some of my planned books out of January. And then I also have another couple of books that I am planning on reading for like a reading vlog idea that I have, and it's not exactly a secret TBR, but it kind of is, because I'm not going to name those books here, because if I do, then I feel like I'm kind of like beholdening myself to actually read them, and I would love to do this reading vlog idea that I have, and I do have 3 books planned for that, but this is going to be very much for me seeing how this month goes, because now that I'm working full-time, I am kind of discovering what kind of reading time I have, and honestly, I'm more tired at night, so I'm going to bed earlier. There are times when I would love to stay up reading, but I am literally falling asleep. So yeah, there is a little bit more constraint on my reading, but without further ado, let me just jump into the books that I am for certain planning to read in the month of February. So it seems like starting off 2022, Ben and I have decided that we want to read like every book together. That's an exaggeration, but I have like 3 books on this list that are in one way or another affiliated with him. So the first one of those is Feet of Clay, which is a genuine buddy read for us because we have been reading the City Watch series of Discworld together. Feet of Clay is the 3rd book in this series, and I love the City Watch. Guards was one of my favorites of 2021, and Men at Arms probably could have been on that list too. Like it only misses out basically by virtue of not being Guards. Like, I didn't like it quite as much, but I still loved it. So it's one of those things where there might have been a difference in my enjoyment, but it's such a small difference because they're both 5 stars that it like doesn't even matter. So based on the back of this one, it sounds like this is Vimes and his new members of the Watch kind of dealing with a somewhat classical whodunit murder mystery, but of course Terry Pratchett is going to throw his own spin onto things, and I'm really excited for this just because they are so much fun to read. The next book up is Each of Us a Desert by Mark Oshiro, and this is the book club pick for Ben's Discord, so I will leave the link to that down in the description if you are interested in joining that Discord and joining for the buddy read of this book in February. This was picked by Angela from Literature Science Alliance. Every month the wheel gets spun and whoever wins gets to kind of like propose a couple of books that could be read, and then the people pick which one they want to read. So Each of Us a Desert is this month's pick, and I'm really excited for this because I have had a physical copy of this for a while. I was gifted this for my birthday last year from Evie, from She Was Only Evie, which was, I really appreciated it. I love Evie, and it's just been the type of thing where I've been meaning to read it ever since, and this just gives me the perfect motivation that I need to pick it up. So this is, I believe, YA, and our main character, Zoe, is a person who, I don't know if they're exiled, but it says that they're destined to basically wander the desert for their life, and they are understandably very lonely living a life in the desert alone. So Zoe makes a wish, and she wishes that she could basically have a companion, and she gets that wish, but I think that the interesting part of this book and the real plot is how these 2 characters go on a journey through the desert together, and that's kind of all I know about it. I did read the synopsis, but I like going into books not knowing a ton, so that premise sounds really interesting to me because it sounds very character focused and character driven, and so I'm really looking forward to this. And I also just have to mention that it has a gorgeous cover. Like, this is a gorgeous book. I just love it. The next book on my TBR is another buddy read that Ben and I are doing together this month, and that is a new release called How High We Go in the Dark by Sequoia Nagamatsu. Oh my gosh, I always get that last name wrong, I'm so sorry. Sequoia Nagamatsu. And this is basically a story of lots of characters interlinked over hundreds of years as humanity recovers from like a climate crisis or a climate plague or something. I think it might be a plague. Is that our crisis? I think I just broke my brain, but the main idea is that this is sort of like a sci-fi near future setting that sounds really cool. Like, I just know that this is going to interweave tons of interesting storylines together, and I'm so excited to see what it does. And this is another one where this book is literally gorgeous. Like, I'm a little bit biased because the colors used here are literally like my favorite colors, like these light blues and everything, but look at it, it's so nice. Like, if I didn't know what this was about, this easily would have been a cover buy for me if I saw it in the bookstore. It is just beautiful. So, but it also sounds interesting and it sounds amazing. So I'm very excited to read this one as well. Then, to stay on brand with this trend of beautiful books, at least in my opinion, we have The Girl in the Tower by Katherine Arden, The Bear and the Nightingale, the first book in this trilogy I have talked about multiple times now. I adored that book, and I really wanted to get straight into The Girl in the Tower in January, but I kind of already had my January TBR on lock in my head. I knew what I was doing, so I just thought, okay, it's fine, I can skip a month and I will get right back to it in February, because I am seriously dying to get back to this world, this atmosphere, Vasya as our main character. I loved all of it. So I'm really hoping that the quality continues, and I've heard from multiple people that it does continue. So this is one of the ones that I am the most excited about for this month. And like I said, another beautiful book. I absolutely love this cover. I'm on a roll. And then I have kind of a bonus book, and it is called Donut Fall in Love. Obviously this is a romance. This is kind of a bonus book on here because when it's February and when it's around Valentine's Day, I like to kind of read a romance. I'm in that mood. I love that feeling. So this, I believe, is like, well, it's set in Toronto, which is one reason why I picked it up in the first place, but I kind of think that this is like a meet cute where the girl in this story has this incident where she like knocks over a display of donuts or something at the guy's bakery, and I think that that's how they meet. I read the synopsis for this book when I bought it, but that was like months ago. So the thing to be taken away is that it sounds adorable, and I'm hoping to read this around Valentine's Day, so we'll see how it goes. Actually, before we get into the carryovers from January, I've just realized that because I don't have a physical copy in front of me, I have forgotten a book, and that is an ARC, which was so kindly approved for me on NetGalley in exchange for a review, and that is The Justice of Kings by Richard Swan. I'll put the cover up on the screen. I know that a few people have already read this, including Abby, Klaus, I think, Alan, and Angela had this on her TBR too, but it was more of like a maybe for her. But The Justice of Kings comes out on February 22nd, 2022, so my goal is to like read this in the earlier weeks of the month and then put out a review for it like around the time when it's coming out. So I'm really excited for this one as well. I think that the central theme of this is sort of like, well, it's right there in the title, but I think the central theme is sort of like justice. Like, we follow a character who is judge, jury, and executioner all rolled into one, and I think that it might be an exploration of morality. I honestly don't know too much. I just know that what I've heard about it sounds really intriguing to me. It hooks me enough that I requested the ARC, and I'm really excited to read it so that I can provide you guys with a review and hopefully be able to tell you whether it is something that you would be interested in trying out or not. Okay, now we are ready to get into my carryovers from my January TBR, which got displaced by Assassin's Quest. I am gonna have a review of the Farseer trilogy coming out as well, so if you are interested in that, you can look forward to that later this week. But the books that I unfortunately did not get to in the month of January because of that decision were, the first of which is Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. This is one that I'm still really interested in, and Andrew and Nico from Wizardly Duo Discord, well, not from, but you know, they run the Wizardly Duo Discord, you get it. They were running a read-along for this, and I know that Andrew had some mixed feelings on this, but he liked it, and he liked the ending. And this is a book that I've wanted to read for so long. So this is still a high priority for me. It's just getting so mixed up with all of my scheduling. So hopefully I can get to Ninth Reign still. I hope that I don't fall too far behind on that read-along because I really did want to join it. So we will see how it goes, but this is definitely still on my TBR. The second one is The Ember Blade by Chris Wooding, which was a 5-star prediction for me. I mean, still is a 5-star prediction for me. And so I'm still so excited to get to it, but it is a chunker. So when you consider that this is like, how long is this? This is like 819 pages, so you can basically, like, that's a very similar length to Assassin's Quest, so you can basically say that I just like straight up switched these two books out for each other. It happens. I read Royal Assassin and then I immediately wanted to read Assassin's Quest, so I did. This is a little bit of mood reading for you. You know, we don't always have to perfectly stick to our TBRs, but that is what happened. And then finally we have Anxious People by Frederick Bachmann that a couple of my friends are reading. There is a show coming out based on this book. I love Frederick Bachmann. So those are like 3 reasons right there conspiring for me to want to read this soon. It's just a matter of like finding the time in my schedule to actually pick it up, and maybe this month will be the month. We'll see what I'm doing with those other 3 books that I want to do for a video. We'll see how it fits in with those. Like, if I get a lot done early on in February, a lot of this starts looking a lot more realistic for me. So I guess in a way it's very positive that I do have a lot of options. Like, if I want to do some mood reading, I do have a lot of great choices on this TBR. I also have some books that are a little bit shorter, so maybe that helps me get through a little bit more. But again, I am still kind of figuring out my schedule and how my reading schedule looks. And also, it is so cold out. Like today, for example, while I'm filming this morning, it was like minus 22 Celsius, feels like minus 32 Celsius. So when the weather's like this, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna stay inside and I'm not gonna go outside. I'm just gonna stay inside and read. So, not that I hope that I'm trapped inside forever, but if the weather continues this way, I'm definitely gonna be spending my time reading. So, that is my ambitious February TBR. I know there's a lot on here, but please drop a comment if you have thoughts on any of these books. Let me know if you've read them, if you're planning on reading them, and whether you liked them, what your thoughts were. That would be awesome. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more content from me. I post new videos every Monday and Thursday, and I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye!